This lesson is going to be about dividing decimals, and you can see this is the last part of our learning goal that we've been working on for the last few lessons, that you'll be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals. So here's an example where we might need to divide decimals. If you have $1.60 and you want to buy pieces of gum that cost 40 cents, how many pieces of gum can you buy? So I've drawn a little picture here to represent your $1.60. And so you can see that this first block right here represents $1. And then the second block right here represents 60 cents. I apologize for the terrible handwriting. So each one of these pieces, the first block right here has been divided up into 10 pieces. So each one of those represents 1/10 of a dollar, or 10 cents. And so the second part right here is also divided up into this same size pieces. So each one of those also represents 10 cents. If I'm asking now, how many 40-cent pieces of gum can I buy? I'm asking I'm looking for 4/10 of a dollar. So I'm asking how many 4/10 chunks can I divide this up into? So I can kind of look here and see I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's one chunk that I can buy a piece of gum with. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's another chunk that I can buy a piece of gum with. Now as I'm looking, I have 1, 2 left in my dollar, and I would need 1, 2 more pieces out of this other chunk, and there would be another 40-cent chunk to buy a piece of gum, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more left, so I have one more final chunk. So I could buy 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of gum with my $1.60. So I could write that out as a division problem. $1.60 divided by 0.40, and we know that that equals 4. We saw that there were 4 of those chunks in there. Notice that if I had 16, which I could get by moving my decimal point one place to the right there, and divided that by 4, which again I could get by moving my decimal point here one place to the right, I would get the same answer. And if I did 160 divided by 40, which I could get by continuing to move my decimal point one more place to the right, I would get the same answer again, 4. So you can move your decimal point around as long as you move it the same number of places in both numbers when you're doing a division problem, and you will still get the same answer. That's going to be useful for us later on when we talk about how to actually do these division problems. There's some different ways of showing division. So this is probably a way that you're pretty familiar with right here with the division symbol. And then we should also be pretty familiar with that second way, showing the little box where you put the number that's being divided inside the box and the number you're dividing by outside. Notice that the numbers here are in reverse order when you write it in a different way. And then this is the way that we most often show division in algebra, using a fraction bar. So we need to get used to saying that the fraction bar is actually a way of showing division. So a fraction and a division problem really aren't any different. So we just need to get used to seeing that in both ways. Let's see. So we have some vocabulary here. Dividend is the number that's being divided. Divisor is a number that you are dividing by. And quotient is the answer to a division problem. So if I look here at this first problem right here, the dividend, the number that's being divided, would be the 6. The divisor is the number you're dividing by. That would be the 3. And then if I want to say the quotient, well, the answer to that division problem would be 2, and that would be my quotient. If you look at the second problem here, the dividend, the number that's being divided, is now on the inside. The divisor is here on the outside. That's the number that we're dividing by. And then the quotient would be the number that we write on the top, the 2. That would be the quotient. If we look at the final problem down here, and I say that that's equal to 2 again, the dividend is again the 6, the number that's being divided. The divisor is here on the bottom, and the quotient is what we get when we simplify that fraction. So even if we have a fraction that simplifies not to a whole number but to a decimal, that is still going to be the quotient. That might be some vocabulary that you would want to write down in your notes. So again, remember the dividend is a number being divided, the divisor is the number that you're dividing by, and the quotient is your answer to the division problem. So here's another example. You use 0.4 pounds of bananas to make one smoothie, and you have 3 pounds of bananas. You want to know how many smoothies can you make. So I'm going to again divide. I'm going to do 3 divided by 0.4. So again, I need to move my decimal point one place to the right to make this into a whole number. So that will be 4. And now I'm going to take the invisible decimal point at the end of the 3 here and move that one place to the right as well, so that I've done the same thing to both numbers. Put a 0 in there, and now my decimal point is right here, so that's what I need to move up to the top there. And now I'm going to divide it out. How many times does 4 go into 3? 0 times. How many times does 4 go into 30? 4 times 8 is 32, so I have to go with one number less than that because I can't go over 30, so this is going to be 7. And then I do 7 times 4, which is 28. And I'm going to subtract. And I know that 30 minus 28 is 2. 4 does not divide into 2. 2 is less than 4, so that's good. Now I'm going to add a 0 here and bring that down right there. How many times does 4 go into 20? 4 goes into 20 exactly 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. If I subtract that, I get 0, which is good. When you get 0, that means you're done. So that I know I can make 7.5 smoothies. So 7.5 smoothies, or if I can only make full smoothie amounts, I would be able to make 7 smoothies with my 3 pounds of bananas. So this is your free response question. Go ahead and pause the video here and answer this question. And this is your multiple choice question. Go ahead and pause the video here and answer this question. And if you need to go back and listen to the vocabulary again, you can do that. All right, thank you.